Welcome to the second Women in Agile Meetup. Woo! Yay! So that's what those are for. We knew there was going to be a lot of talkers tonight, or speakers, I should say, up tonight. They're talking, this works. And we thought your hands might get tired clapping, so you've got noisemakers to help you keep the enthusiasm going as we've got 7 speakers / talkers tonight. I'm going to make it work. Yeah, it's fine. So that's why it happened. I'm Philly, and this is Bianca, and this is Alex. And we've been running this meetup. So to start us off tonight, lightning talks are just very short talks, usually no more than 5 minutes. And so anyone who came to our first meetup last month, it was a talk on how to give your first talk. So now our members get a chance to give a talk. So we thought that was a good theme. There we go. So Women in Agile is a global not-for-profit organization which exists for the amplification and furtherment of women within the Agile community and advocates. So it's not just for women, but part of the reason that we're here is the support of women. And this is our code of conduct. If you just take a little minute to read that, this defines the kind of behaviors and things of this community. Everyone nod when you finish.
People are actually reading.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Do you read the terms and conditions? Cool. Awesome. Thank you very much. And over to Bianca.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to do this intro to Digital because people who went for our first meetup remember my talk about going to brunch, getting on board with this meetup, and this is how we all started. It was all about friends having brunch. This time it was friends having dinner, and some wine, of course, because why not? So I met Diana for a quick catch-up between us, and she was like, do you need a space? And Digital is more than happy to host you. And this is where we are. So I should just continue having brunches, lunches, dinners with people. Maybe we can find more spaces, more talks, and more speakers to our venue.
That's an invitation to all of you to brunch with her.
Yeah. More than happy to do that. Cool.
Next. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you to our film and photography crew, which is Joe tonight. He loves this attention. It's his favorite. Okay. And so these are the ways that you can connect with us. So this is our Twitter, WomenLDN. You're obviously members of the Meetup group because you made it here tonight. But we also have our YouTube channel. So the video of the last talk is already up there, and the talks from tonight will also go up there as well. To get engaged with the mothership, you can become a member officially of Women in Agile. You can join. They have excellent things for new speakers wanting to speak at bigger conferences where you can get assigned a mentor. And they also have a Slack channel as well that you can join. So there's lots of ways to get involved with the global organization. It is growing exponentially. They had their first meetup in Peru last week, and 500 women. It was immense. So come on, London. Don't let the side down. Cool. All right. So thank you all for being here tonight. The way it's going to work is we are going to have our speaker as soon as that. We're going to call the speaker's name. You're going to make as much noise as possible to get them up. You had some thoughts on...
I did. So I think we need a practice round of how we're going to support our speakers. So you've all got your noisemakers. Obviously do this if you feel comfortable to do it. But can we just have a practice run and make as much noise as possible? Celebratory noises. Amazing. Okay. Cool. So we have now just re-baselined silence. So that was the sound of silence. So we've got to go even louder than that for our speakers, right? So we'll practice after our first speaker. Okay?
Yep. Cool. So once we call the first name, you're going to make a lot of noise. They will do their talk, and then there will be a moment. You're going to introduce the. Never mind. Okay. So time for our first. We rehearsed this. So this is the rundown today. You've got 7 amazing speakers, starting with Diana. And it's time to go. So let's make as much noise as humanly possible.
Welcome everyone. My name is Anna. I work for Untitled. I lead a few of our teams here at Untitled. I've been here for about 2.5 years now. It's a lovely place to work. Feel free to get in touch with us afterwards as well. Before I begin, actually, I know we've had a few thank yous before, but I really want to thank you, Bianca and Philly and Alex, to just give us the opportunity to host this lovely event. So yes, just give them a big hand. Woohoo! There you go. This way. This way. There you go, that's it. And I'm looking for Mel, but Mel's not here. Oop, and this is falling. That's steady, there you go, I'll try that. I was going to say a big thank you to Mel. So Mel Enfield is behind all of the events in Untitled that get organized and published. So all across social media, you'll be able to see her. And if you do see her somewhere, just please give her a big thank you. So yeah, cool. Okay, so I was encouraged / forced to also contribute to tonight's event. So thank you, Bianca, for encouraging me. I'm going to start with a short story, and then we'll see how the evening unfolds. How many of you recognize this city? Let's see, hands up, more hands up. Guesses, without Bianca and Eva. Few guesses, let's see. Amsterdam, what else? Stockholm, what else? Prague. Stockholm, cool. Yes, Stockholm. Got a few travelers around. Great, so Stockholm. I visited Stockholm a couple of years ago. Three things I learned about Stockholm. The first one is Stockholm has the biggest number of McDonald's restaurants per capita in Europe. That's excellent, because number 2, I genuinely cannot afford anything else in Stockholm apart from going to McDonald's every day. Thirdly, the third big thing about Stockholm, and actually Sweden, is that it bloody snows a lot in Sweden. And then what happens when it snows a lot in Sweden is that they had to come up with a very, very organized and efficient way to clean snow. And the way Sweden decided to clean snow off the road was actually looking at the ring roads first, so cleaning the main ring roads of the cities, and then looking at the main boulevards and streets afterwards, and then looking at sidewalks, and then looking at little pedestrian walks and hospitals and all that kind of stuff. You may wonder, though, what does that have to do with gender equality? Interestingly, the way Sweden cleans snow had a really, really different impact to men than it did to women. I actually have some stats about this. So the first thing is that 3 times more people get injured on the pedestrian and sidewalks than they do on roads in the cars. And guess what? About 75% of those are women. So coming to that acknowledgement and awareness in Sweden was quite a big thing. The other thing that they realized is that hospital care and the amount of lost productivity that was happening during winter times in Sweden cost them actually 4 times more than the snow cleaning. So that's quite impressive. Now, Sweden is one of the leading countries when it comes to gender mainstreaming. So amazing first step that they did probably 8 to 10 years ago, if I'm not wrong, but actually just acknowledging this and doing something about it. And the moment they decided to change the order in which they do snow cleaning, all these numbers change within a year. So what that shows us is that being aware of the impacts of our small decisions, how that can influence it. This is this example is actually an example that I found in one of the books that I read, and it's called Gender Data Gap. And the gender data gap basically is saying that the world has been designed for men, but not in a deliberately mean way, but actually all of the data that we've been generating and all the stats that we've been using actually have been generated by men. And this lovely lady called Caroline Perez, she wrote this amazing book called Invisible Women, and I'm really impressed with it because the way she exposes the gender data bias is incredible. One example here, a number of other examples from actually the New York Opera. New York Opera back in the 1970s, 90% women. Someone had this great idea of doing blind auditions. Within a year, it turned to 50-50. That's amazing. And lots and lots of other examples, like seat belts and all that kind of stuff. Really, really recommend the book. I had to put it down halfway because it was quite intense, for those of you who've read it. But I really, really recommend it. So why am I standing here today? I guess my plea to you is become conscious. I think we all have different jobs. We all have, whether we're in the technology industry or outside of it, we can influence this. We can influence decision making so that women and children and other people are considered into designing a better world for all of us. And that's it. Thank you. Woo!
Thank you, guys. This is really, really nice. I never thought that I would feel like this when you do that. So that's amazing. Do that again. My name is Bianca Schobel. I don't know, I think a couple of you definitely know me, but for those of you who don't know me, I'm currently a Scrum Master at Eurostar, and I've been there for a long time, almost 2 years now. And I accepted this challenge as well because I'm not a public speaker and I don't feel comfortable being in front of you or in front of anyone, to be honest, but I think I love challenges, so that's why I'm here. I'm gonna try and give you just a tool, just a little bit of understanding of a tool that I've learned on how to give feedback. So if you look below your chairs, you have some notes, and I'm gonna run through my presentation, and then you can understand what I mean with those. So, first thing first, my agenda for the next 5 minutes, and I'm gonna try to be in 5 minutes. People that know me, I do tend to talk a lot, so I'm gonna promise not to take more than 5 minutes. Why is feedback important? A real life example. A feedback tool that I learned. Bonus, I have just 3 top tips for you when you give feedback, and I want you to put it in practice tonight. So that's it. My goal for tonight, as I said, I want you to grab one of those post-it notes and write a feedback note after my presentation. What is feedback? I mean, I don't think I want to stay here and take the 5 minutes to explain to you what feedback is. I just did a Google, and I think the first paragraph that came up, it's really easy, and it actually encapsulates what feedback is. A process in which the effect or output of an action is returned to modify the next action. And it looks very simple. You need to have an action, an effect, and there's a feedback. And then it goes into a loop. Right? Very easy. Why is feedback important? Feedback is always there. Hands up for those of you who have given feedback or received feedback in the last week. Easy. What about the last 3 days? What about today? Exactly. So feedback is always there, even if it's not a, let's say, an official survey or an official, let's say, performance review, or name it, something official. Feedback is always there. In your day-to-day communication, you give feedback and you receive feedback. Feedback can motivate. So as human beings, we are motivated by giving feedback and knowing that our feedback can lead to taking decisions. So I think it's really important. Do try and do this a lot. And then once you have feedback always there and feedback motivating people, that actually works hand in hand with continuous improvement. So it's just like a loop. Give feedback, receive feedback, learn something, and do it again. Cool. And now I just want to walk you through a real-time example. Who has a dog at home? Or a cat? Cool. Have you ever done this? Like, bad dog. All right. Do you think this is... Well done. Well done. Do you guys think this is feedback? From my point of view, this is definitely not a feedback. All right. So what I want to do next, I'm going to introduce to you that tool that I talked to you about so that we can change this particular bad dog statement into a real feedback. The feedback is called SBI, and I'm going to walk you through what that means. It is developed by the Center for Creative Leadership. It just describes a very simple structure on how you can actually define a feedback when you write it or give it to someone. And it's really, really important. The goal of it is to avoid making assumptions. Assumptions on what the other person felt, what the other person did. It's more about like what you felt whilst you're giving feedback. So, first thing first, SBI, situation, behavior, impact. Very simple. It's a simple structure, as I said. But let's just walk through them and understand a little bit more what they mean. So, situation. It's really, really important to describe the situation, like be specific. Talk about when and where it happened. If you do that, you will, one, put the person into a context, and that person will understand what is this person actually trying to tell me. And it also like you don't generalize, and you're like a little bit more specific, right? So taking my example with the bad dog, let's see how we can translate that into the first part of our feedback. Last evening, when I got home and I walked into the kitchen, ... So that's the first part, right? I described the situation. I used last evening and walked into the kitchen. So my dog now knows that it's all about last evening and something that happened in the kitchen. Let's see what happened in the kitchen. That's the behavior. This is a very, very important step that we usually miss. And it's really important to observe the behavior, but don't assume you know what the other person was thinking. So it's more about what did you see when something happened. Again, let's go back to my example with the dog. So I walked into the kitchen. I observed that you were chewing on my new leather boots. That's what the dog was doing, right? So I observed something. I didn't say that he was doing something wrong. I didn't say that, oh, you were a bad dog because you were chewing on my boots. I just observed that you were chewing on my new leather boots, right? It's a fact. Last bit is I actually put a heart on it because it's the I, right? It does stand for impact, but it's all about how you felt in that particular situation, right? It's not about how the dog felt. It's not about how people around the dog felt or how the boots felt. It's more about how you felt in that situation. So, again, using the example, so I walked into the kitchen. I saw you chewing on my new leather boots. It made me feel sorry for the boots, and I was really upset. So in this particular statement, I don't use anything about, you were a really bad dog or you were whatever. I'm just telling you what I felt when I observed that particular situation. It changes a little bit, let's say, the focus from the person whom you're giving feedback to you, because in the end, you are the person giving the feedback, so it should be very personal. Right, so now the outcome is, if you read it, last evening when I got home and I walked into the kitchen, I observed that you were chewing on my new leather boots. It made me feel sorry about the boots and I was really upset. How does this sound compared to bad dog? Is this a little bit better? Cool, all right. So on the notes that I actually put below your seats, you have this particular tool described, and I would like you to try and use it tonight with our next speakers or even me, if you want to. There's an example about me there. But next steps. So you've learned the tool, you have the template, you are giving feedback. What do you think is the next step? It's time to reflect. So it's not enough to just say, okay, you chewed on my leather boots and I'm really upset and I'm just going to leave it there. There's no outcome from that, right? You have to take time to reflect. You have to allow that person or that dog a little bit of reflection time to understand what was the actual impact. So it made you feel bad, right? So something happened there. And then together you set up what are the next action points so that you can correct either the mistake or maybe it was something good. You want to move forward with that. I did mention 3 extra tips for you because I find these really important. So you can have the template of how to give feedback. You can have the right person to give feedback. But how many times were you terrified when your manager came to you and said, can I give you some feedback? Yeah? I don't think I have that kind of a manager, but if you do felt that, you need to build the safety first, right? What I mean by safety first, try to get to connect with that person. It doesn't mean you have to, I don't know, be happy or smile all the time. I mentioned it, be positive. You can be robust, you can be rough with your feedback, but don't be mean. It's a totally different thing, right? Last thing, be immediate. We know we all have like 6 months performance reviews or 3 months appraisals or whatever. Don't wait 3 months or 6 months to give feedback when somebody did something either wrong or something good. Give it immediate. Otherwise, your feedback will be lost in transition or maybe that person already improved on that particular thing you want to feedback on. So give it when you feel it. All right, that's, oh wow. I'm actually on time. Thank you. Amazing. So just a little bit of a recap. This is how the template looks like. You have a situation. Make sure you put when and where. It's really, really important. That person will actually jump back and know exactly what you mean and what you actually meant by that. Behavior, it's more about the observable behavior, so what actually happened. And the impact is all about you. How did you feel in that particular feedback statement? I gave you an example again, if you want to use it or not. And that's about it. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Camilla, and I'm a freelance facilitator. I run workshops and meetings and lots of different processes to help teams come to better outcomes with the time they spend together. This is a picture of me living life on the edge from a young age. I like to start with this picture because I think it's a great picture, right? Why not? I also like to start with a bit of game. I don't know if anyone's heard of a thumb war before. Yeah? So turn to the person next to you and do a thumb war. If the person next to you doesn't know what that is, show them what it is. Okay? So grasp hands with someone and you play it. You can see it happening behind you. Maybe you guys can go together. Find someone, reach out. Okay, time's up before someone gets punched in the face. So, thank you all for that. Tonight I'm going to talk about something that I believe can change the world. And in fact, I believe it already has changed the world. And that is all to do with creativity and play. Now, I asked you just to have a thumb war, very simple activity, but within about 4 seconds, the majority of you were laughing, you were talking to the person next to you, interacting, and building a space where we can all feel a little bit safer. Now anyone know who this is? A couple of people daring to whisper but not going for it. Plato. So, everyone says that Plato said this thing, which is you can learn more about a person in an hour of play than a lifetime of conversation. Now, as with many things, more likely said by a woman. He didn't actually say it, it's just attributed to him. But I think the premise is excellent, right? How much can we learn about each other in a short space of time using more playful processes? We all understand that children learn through play. They build relationships, they understand right from wrong, they understand a world that's fundamentally baffling. And I would argue that as adults, it doesn't get any less baffling as we get older. In fact, in many ways, I think it gets more so. So, I'm talking about the power of play and why we need to play more as adults. Now, does this look familiar to anyone? There's a meeting, there are people on various devices, looks like some people are getting a bit angry on one side, all fighting for what they want. Okay? I would say this is pretty typical of a lot of meetings. This is probably also quite typical of a lot of meetings that people in this room are used to. Lots of post-it notes all over the wall, going through processes, trying to understand things a little bit better. Now, this is a kind of meeting that I really like. I use Lego, and I'm sure a lot of you have probably used Lego before if you're into Agile. I'm a Lego Serious Play facilitator, and I use Lego as one of the core tools in my toolbox to help make processes more creative and more engaging for the people that are a part of it. And you can see the difference between these two pictures, right? You've got people up, distracted, doing different things, and you've got everyone focused on one task, even though it's building Lego. Now, Lego is a very simple process. You set a challenge. That might be build what you think the biggest challenge your team has, or build what journey you think this project should take over the next 12 months. Or maybe it's build your personal life goal for the next 5 years. Whatever it is, you set a challenge. Then, quite simply, you build it. That's like using Lego. Then you share it. Now, what's powerful about Lego is that if you're in the room, you're building and you're sharing. It doesn't matter if you're the CEO or you're the intern. Everyone is equal in the space when it comes to Lego, so everyone shares what they've built. And then, as we heard on the evaluation and feedback, we reflect. We look at what we've shared, we look at the links between the different things that we've shared and what that means. So, we've got some people playing Lego here, that's great, but what does that actually look like? So here's a build. Now, that looks like a couple of elephants. What if I told you that's actually meant to represent 2 managers in a company? Okay, the whole meaning changes for us. It doesn't have to be Lego when we're getting a little bit more creative. This was building a roadmap to build a roadmap for a project that people were working on. How can we bring a little bit more creativity and play into the work that we're doing? So at the end of my talk tonight, I just want to encourage you all to step outside your comfort zone a little bit. Where can you move outside of your daily grind? Can you do something that's a little bit more playful, a little bit more creative to challenge your mind and stimulate it a little bit more? Now, I know it looks like I have the best job in the world playing with Lego every day, but don't forget, this is my Friday night washing and drying my Lego to keep it clean. I know, right? So thank you very much for having me here tonight. And you've been wonderful. Thank you.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is Martina, and I really appreciate your time that you came here. And my next topic is part of my purpose and probably the message which I would love to share with the world. And it's actually the key to being the irresistible woman. So what does it take to be irresistible woman in 2020? What's the key? What's the secret? Why we want to feel irresistible? And I actually don't know any woman who doesn't want to feel happy, feel good, and just feel and be loved. And we spend thousands and thousands on beauty products and special wardrobes, special treatments, beauty treatments, special gym classes, instructors, just to make us feel this way. So what's the secret? Is there any kind of special formula or any special shampoo? See, my project or maybe my personal journey or search for what does it mean being irresistible started probably 2 years ago. When I came across a Meetup group here in London, it was called The Irresistible Woman. And I, of course, immediately signed up for it because I wanted to meet those special ladies. I wanted to feel the aura, to know their success. And actually, I was secretly hoping that it's something easy to catch. Probably something what I can easily learn and maybe just copy and paste into my personal life. Unfortunately, I didn't find anything of this. But fortunately, I experienced it myself. What am I talking about? I'll tell you about this in a minute. But for the beginning, let me tell you what the phrase of irresistible woman mean. When I typed this phrase into the Google offered me 5,400,000 results. As you can see, it's quite a popular phrase to look for, not only by women, but also by men. And just to give you the example, just idea what does the irresistible woman mean? She's playful, confident, nurturing, and health-side direction. That's the blog which was written by a woman. The next answer is the blog written by men. So the woman who knows what they want, shining sense of humor, healthy but not health nut, won't overly obsess about your wardrobe, you are extremely down to earth, you are passionate but not zealot, you have friends. And also I give you the example of real men who actually answered the questions, what does the irresistible woman mean for them? So Maverick, for example, he said the irresistible woman is the kind of a woman who can take my breath away with just a smile, silence me with just a stare, encourage me with just a touch at the right places, please, inspire me with her actions. So as you can see, each of us has got different opinion, different taste, and different point of view. kind of makes sense, isn't it? Each of us is different. So, and that's my point. The key to being irresistible is being you. Simple, isn't it? So why is it so difficult to apply into our everyday life? Who are you? Who is the real you? Ladies, if you relate to me, then probably you know that actually we have many faces and we play different roles. You are mother, you are colleague, you are boss, you are friend, you are lover, you are wife, you are girlfriend, and so on, so on. The key to being irresistible is to being you, the real you, and to knowing the real you is knowing yourself. And why we have so many faces? Because the unique feature of being feminine and we are nurturing, we are caring, and that's who we are. We easily give up what's important for us just to make somebody else happy. That's who we are. We are people pleasers. That's actually what we live for. That's feminine feature. And unfortunately, we do it so much and so easily that we forget that we have our own needs. And the bucket of our own needs just get emptier and emptier. And my next point is that please, ladies, take care of yourself. It's your responsibility to fill up your bucket, your own happiness. Nobody else will do it for you. And it's not selfish to take care of yourself, but selfish is not to do so. Maybe biggest misunderstanding of being irresistible and thinking is being superwoman. My next point is giving permission yourself not to be the one. I found into this trap myself because I was even proud that I can do everything myself. I don't need anyone. But I eventually, or maybe very fast, found out that it's also the way to being lonely and to the fastest way to burn out. So does it mean that we have to choose one or the other thing? No. It means that the cooperation is the solution. And when working less really means working more. And this leads me to my next point, and which is to learn to ask and receive. Although we can be a superwoman if you choose to, you can truly achieve anything, and you can do it all by yourself. But the key thing is that to being irresistible and to function even more is you need to have other people and you need to have fulfilling relationships. So this is my key, that being irresistible and being the function is having healthy and fulfilling relationships and having healthy partnership. So my point is not to learn to understand yourself, but also learn to understand your partner as well. My last one is become the queen of your life. So it's learn about the mindset. Take control of your thoughts and become the creator of powerful meanings. We all know that your thoughts create the life which you have. And either you love it or not, you are not so happy. It's the result of your thoughts. Learn about the creation cycle. Learn about the power. And yes, we cannot control everything, all what happens to you, but you definitely can choose the meaning which you give it to it, what happens to you. See, at the beginning when I was telling you that I experienced something incredible myself 2 years ago, it was actually the being present with women who dare to be themselves. Since then, I actually am on my search of looking for countless answers, trying different strategies, and testing patience of my friends and my boyfriends, and just to find out that the key of being irresistible you is the part which is madly in love with yourself and with others, exactly the way as we are. And so that's my point. And just a little recap. To being irresistible you is just being you, which understands with understanding yourself, say no to superwoman, learn to ask and receive, and become the queen of your life. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, it's super great to be here. And a few years ago, if someone would have told me I would have been here, I wouldn't have believed it, because I come from a super waterfall background. I have more experience working in waterfall. In those days, Agile to me was a marketing tactic where people were trying to fool me and stuff. Then I came over to the other side. Now I use Agile in everything. Agile parenting. So I have a 2.5-year-old son. We do daily stand-ups in the evening. So I talk to him, like, today I missed my train. There was a big problem in the train delays, and I went late to work. And he goes, that little kid bit me in my arm. I went to the library. And his blockers are usually, I don't want to go to nursery tomorrow or something like that. But yeah, you get the point. So I'm a super Agile enthusiast now. Coming from waterfall to this is a big transition for me. So I'm super excited to be here. On the next. Yay. So I'm going to be talking about building your brand, because I've started using Agile in my life. It's going to be building your brand the Agile way. Quickly introducing myself. That's me. I'm Shaa. I work as senior consultant with Capgemini Invent. So what I do, I help clients to do awesome stuff because I'm awesome. In other words, I help businesses to sort of with their digital or Agile transformation or moving to the cloud, that kind of stuff. Quickly, so this is one question I think, even me and everyone in whatever point of career they are in will have in their mind. How do I thrive in my job? How do I advance my career? So after a lot of not so feeling great about myself, feeling like an imposter and everything, it's happened when I moved to a job in London. Long story short, I thought I needed to have a brand so that I could sort of make people listen to me, understand who I am and stuff like that. So what did I do? So I made an extra effort to be heard. I started telling my story wisely, and I used my brand for this. So what do I need to do to build a brand? First, find it, build it, keep working on it, and don't let even single person go away without listening to you or talking to them about your brand. Just both them. It will definitely make a lasting impact. However, building your brand is sort of a big roadmap, big journey, big project in itself. So because it's a project, let's do it the Agile way. So how do I build my brand in the Agile way is the key question here. Yeah. So first, start with being more iterative. So don't do a big bang where you go off for 4 months, work on your brand, come back and say, ta-da, this is the new Shaa. People will not remember you in the first place, and it will look very fake. So, and you might end up wasting all your time where people will not like what you've done. So start with small chunks of time. Say every evening or every Friday evening, I sit down and think about what my brand is, how to build it, how am I going to tell everyone about it, what's your story? And another important thing, when you start dividing your work into these chunks or sprints, if you will, or small tasks that you invest, it will help you be more focused on it. It will help you actually understand what exactly you're trying to achieve by the task, instead of having it as I have to deliver a keynote about product management. It does not mean anything to me now, or I should probably start about maybe I should join a community on LinkedIn where I could talk about product management. That will not involve much of my time to start with. Once I understand what people want, I can build over it. Yeah. The next point is be value driven. So this is mainly about we have a day job. So building a brand is your side hustle, or it's very important to what
to advance your career, but you can't let it drain all your energy. So you have to understand which effort or which task that I do now will bring me more value. Instead of you can say, okay, I'm going to run a website. You have to host it, you have to keep maintain it and keep adding content to it. It'll be easier to write a LinkedIn post or blog post on WordPress or something. So your return of effort is sort of important, and always start with very small things. It will make life easier. The next point is be consistent. This is what I lacked when I started building my brand. So I did something for a couple of months, then I forgot about it and come back to it. It's what is my brand now? So I didn't quite remember it. By the time my likes changed, my passion changed, everything changed. So I was struggling. So then I made it a point to work on my brand or my story, I call it, every Friday when I have that downtime, the end of the week. But you can choose your own time, but try and be consistent. The next point is network. This is the spine of my brand. So your network is not only to bore people and make them know about you, it's also they'll support you. Say you're looking for a job and you have made an impact on their mind that, oh, this person is a great product manager. They might come to you, and you support each other. So you cheer each other up, and a network is very important for a brand to work or not work. The next point is feedback. So this is around getting feedback. So don't be shy. Just walk up to a person and ask them feedback. 9 out of 10 times, they'll be happy to give a feedback, So it's very important to ask for your feedback and sort of use it. You can't they gave me a negative feedback, so I'm ignoring it. So just reflect on it and think, is that true? How am I going to incorporate it in my brand and stuff like that? And be adaptive. So when I started off in my career, I was a developer so many years ago. I'm not going to tell you how many years ago. Then I wanted to become a solution architect. Then I didn't like it. I thought developers were more secluded in the waterfall world, and I wanted to talk to clients, travel a lot. So I changed and became a business analyst. Then I thought, product companies, this is so awesome. Let me get into a product company. And I pivoted so many times because I found something else interesting. I thought I could apply myself there because any skill are transferable. So try and be adaptive and see what you like doing instead of just, okay, I've chosen this career path. I'm going to go straight through that. Don't do that. It's okay to pivot in your career. So it's your passion, your plan, it can change. No one is bothered if you change or not. The next is sort of a summary. So always remember your brand will draw people and opportunities to you. So first point, like I said, be iterative, be present. So use social media wisely. Use your LinkedIn profile. Don't say, I work as a product manager in XYZ. Say, I like doing product management. I like digital transformation, working on operating models. I'm doing all buzz terms, but don't say what your job role is instead say what you're passionate about on your profile. That's my point. The next one is collaboration and networking. Always build influential network and use it wisely. I have so many friends on LinkedIn, but I have to use them, yeah? So use it wisely. And next one is showcase your value. Be braggy is something I use all my life. I'm not at all humble. I'm 0% humble. I'm super braggy, and I'm happy about it. Don't forget to be braggy. It's fine to be braggy. You have to tell people who you are. You have to talk for yourself. No one is going to do that, so be braggy. And try and build a platform or community or this Meetup group where you can safely talk about your achievements. And you have to support others too. You can't be like, hey, I won that, I did that, and I did this. Give them feedback, cheer them, and encourage them, That's very important. The last part is staying relevant. Something I use to sort of develop my skills, strengthen my skills, is volunteering. It's free. It gives you sort of a sense of satisfaction, and you feel like, I've done this for this whole community. You also learn a lot of things. So that's a free way to invest, get a good name, and also learn new skills. And the other thing I started doing recently, and I have a very good employer to say that, just walk up to my manager or someone and say, see, this is where I want to get
in my career at this point of time. Can you please send me on this training because this is what I have in my mind? Again, 8 out of 10, they will definitely think about it or definitely send you to the training. So just don't be shy. Walk up to the person responsible and actually ask them. If they say no, it's okay. Just come back and bitch about them. The last part, like she said, spend time on reflection. So I love the slide. I'm the hero. Hero is, I think, I Googled, it could be gender neutral. So let's go with that, yeah. So last point, last story. So I visited my cousin a few months ago. I was visiting him after like 5 years. And we were discussing about jobs and everything. Then he came back to me and he said, I see you are an influencer on LinkedIn. At that time, I sort of, laughed it off and I said, haha, no, whatever. Then I think now that I should have owned it. I should have said, yes, I'm an influencer. Yes, I'm doing it. Yes, I talk about women in tech. Yes, I'm a STEM ambassador. Why not? I am an influencer. So don't try and be humble, or when it makes you uncomfortable, or just think about it, reflect on it. What's wrong in being an influencer? We all are. So when someone says that, you just tell them, yes, I'm an influencer, and just walk away.
Hi, my name is Natalia, and I'm a software developer at Untitled. And today I'm going to talk about the STEM initiative that we have at Untitled called And She Can, and an event that we organized this year. Basically, the whole our idea is to inspire women to go into tech. So I'll talk to you about this for 2 reasons. One, because I think it was a great event and it was very successful. And other is because I want to encourage you to do something like this in your organization. So I'll start with something about me. I'm not from very techie background as most of my colleagues. I started coding when I was 25, very randomly, and just loved it. So I went for a conversion program, master's program in computer science, and voila, I ended up in digital as a software developer. So, and this really motivated me to do something about it, because as a girl, young girl, I had no idea what a career in technology looks like, and my ideas were very, very stereotypical, I would say. So once I joined and I knew that I have like kind of the organization behind me, what I was thinking, okay, I need to find people who are interested in solving the same issue, and that's what I encourage you to do as well in your organizations. I found out about STEM initiative at and it was not very active, let's say, but there are some new joiners who were very enthusiastic about this idea, and so we formed And She Can. And then we started communicating our vision, coming up with what exactly we want to do, and we set our goals for 2019, and I was basically creating an event for young girls, because we thought as young girls, somewhere during the school time, they'll make more impact, let's say. So we did that, and then came to our leadership and told them, yes, this aligns with our goals as an organization. We are capable of doing this and very enthusiastic about doing this. And I mean, it's quite set for success, because we know about the problem that is there at the moment with not having enough women in tech. So what we did next was actually learning more about the issue, because even though we identified that we want to do this event, we wanted to know more about what girls these days, not from our own experience, which was many years ago, how they feel and what they actually want from an event, what will engage them. So we had a workshop with 7 teachers from different schools that were teaching in different grades, and they helped us identify exactly what age the girls should be, what part of the year we should actually have the conference, how the logistics would work, etc., and these kind of things. So, well, lots of planning and lots of doing, and then we ended up on our event. We had a keynote speaker that was 16 years old, and having her own company. We had a panel discussion with women from Undigital and Condé Nast that worked across different roles in technology, so not only developers but also like different ones, and you can see the results that the girls actually learned more about what the role in technology looks like. That it's not only developers. They loved our office as well, because that's not something that they expected as an office. And yeah, we had a workshop with them on confidence building and what makes them special. So their confidence level also grew larger. And that was great because we have 45 attendees. So they're 12 years old, which was not too young to understand and not too old to be kind of, teenagey. And so it was really great because they paid attention. They loved it and they enjoyed it. We invited our leadership as well to come there and see it. And from the time on, everyone just loved it, and it was great. It was great atmosphere, and it was talked about a lot afterwards. So what we did afterwards, basically creating a plan for AngieCan 2020, and from just one event that we did in 2019, we are now creating different streams of work that we can do in the next year and later on. And just demonstrating that, like, that one event that we did, although it was lots of work, and it was a few of us that actually did it and contributed to it, but in the end it was so satisfying, and now we can show results to anyone that this works, and there is reason why we are doing this, and we want to do more. So the leadership obviously also is supportive much more than before. And that's it. So hopefully you can do something like this as well in your company. Thank you.
All right, so you're going to be part of an experiment for me, so fingers crossed this goes well. Okay, so let me just do this. Right, so I'm Alex Minney. I'm an Agile coach by day. And I'm super interested in how we convey information and share ideas. And I particularly like storytelling. So I thought, let's have a look out in the world there and see if there's different presentation styles that really help us in how we tell stories. So one thing we know is that people learn in different ways. So some people are visual, so they see a thing and they learn the thing. Some people are kind of auditory learners, they can just listen and they take it in. Some people can read tons of information or write it down, they take it in. And some people can be kinesthetic, so this is kind of like athletes where they have kind of muscle memory and it's all about the body position. But we're going to focus on the visual. So I'm going to give you a simple lift, a lightweight lift presentation style, which you can use for onboarding people, creative activities with teams to get them knowing each other, those kind of situations, for a show and tell, for example, because who is ever ready for the show and tell? But we want something quick to put together, right? We don't want to spend too much time doing it. Enter Pecha Kucha. Pecha Kucha is Japanese for chit-chat or chatter. It was invented as a style in 2003 by a couple of architects who were really bored with general presentation styles and wanted something more design-led, more image-orientated, and something much more engaging in terms of storytelling. So what they did was create a format that said, you're going to tell your story in 20 slides, and each slide will be on the screen for 20 seconds. So the benefit of this is not only does it move the narrative along, but it also time boxes your content, right? So you've got 20 seconds per slide. So how does it work? No clicker. So we're going to kiss. We're going to keep it simple, stupid, right? So this is a lightning talk type format. So you're going to just pick something small, a story that you can tell from start to end in a relatively small amount of time. What could these be? An introduction to Cynefin, for example. Introduce the Scrum framework, for example. This could be a way to do it. So we've all got Post-it notes everywhere in our offices. So let's start with an outline. 20 Post-it notes, write a word on each Post-it note that could represent part of your story, or even quicker, because you can present within an hour of coming up with an idea. Get 20 slides, do the same thing, put a word on each, and then start looking for images that relate to the words you put on those slides. Now with your images, you want something vibrant, something colourful, something engaging, something that draws you in. This is a great format for telling a happy story or a sad story. Remember, you're visually appealing to people. You're appealing to those visual learners. So pick something like my Norwegian fjord that's going to draw people in as you go. Now, one thing you want to be really careful of is it's not all about the show, it's also about the tell. So remember I said it's about storytelling. When you chuck a GIF into your slides, the focus is pulled. You've lost me a little bit as a storyteller because you're watching my cat have his head scratched at the moment. So it actually damages your flow a little bit. So if you're going to use this as a technique, think really carefully before you put something in. So let's just say we've got our draft version, it's ready to go. Remember I said 20 seconds per slide? So you want to practice this. It's going to tell you how much you can say per slide. So it's about 1 to 2 points. And I practice in front of the mirror because I have a problem with a tight jaw when I present. So I want to see how I come across to people. So you've got to practice and practice and practice. Know your timing, know your content. Now you may want to include a start slide or a finish slide, a hi, thanks to you type thing. You might want to include it in your count, you don't have to. But there are Pecha Kucha events that happen all across the world, which you could join, and they might stipulate, hey, yep, have a start slide, don't have a start slide. It's up to you. This could be a Pecha Kucha event. So 3 million people use this. Events happen pan-globally. Each event could have between 50 and 5,000 attendees because they hold them remotely. But pop onto pechakucha.com, get some inspiration and see what these folks are doing. It's actually really, really inspirational when you go there. Now, because I'm a sneaky Agile coach, I like a little bit of autological or homological thinking. So what that means is we're learning the thing by doing the thing. So this is a Pecha Kucha. So my slides are moving along at 20-second intervals, so you get a feeling for the amount of content you can convey and the rate at which we move. Mathematicians in the room will have worked out, however, 20 seconds, 20 slides, it's 400 seconds. This lightning talk is 5 minutes, which is 300 seconds. So do not do a Pecha Kucha for a 5-minute lightning talk. Do it for something longer, right? Or this teaches you how to become brief in your explanations. It's really good practice. So that's it. Pecha Kucha in a nutshell. 20 images, 20 seconds per slide. Pick your topic and keep it simple. Outline your story and then explore some really interesting, exciting images and practice like crazy to get your timing. Then as a speaker, emote like crazy. You're a storyteller, right? Enrich these images. Have fun. Et voilà.
We would love some feedback on the event, how you're finding. It's only our second one. And I just want to say thank you so much for tonight. I enjoyed this so much. I'm really, really touched at how much effort you put into this, how amazing our speakers were. And I couldn't stop grinning, just sitting there. Thank you. Yeah. So, yes, thank you all again. If we could have the speakers stay, we want to get a couple of pictures with everybody all together. Remember, the feedback bag is here, or you can just hand the cards to your speakers. And yes, I've said that quite many times. Appreciate it. Please stay in touch with us, tweet us, talk to us. If you want to give a longer talk, let us know. We're happy to talk.
Thunder talk.
Thunder talk.
What's that?
It's a
Really long talk. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Stay for a drink.